Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. With the success my video for the Deadeye Phantom met, I decided to make video for my own Skyrim build, and I'm glad to announce that I have enough ideas to provide to you all unique and super cool characters until the end of the year. The first character of this batch is a really special one, the Beast in Black, a savage werewolf warrior who fights against any threat made to Tamriel. Whether it's bandits, mages, Daedra or dragons, the Beast in Black will make quick work of them with either its destruction spells or its sharp claws. While the concept may remind you some characters you saw in other works of fiction, my main inspiration for these characters actually was the Devilman from the eponymous manga by Gonagai, and this build grew out of the desire to recreate these characters in Skyrim. I also should precise that this build is an adaptation of a post I wrote to the Skyforge a few months ago, and that other builds I made for this website will also get adapted in video format. But I also have a lot of builds that will be exclusive to the channel in the work, so be sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss them. By the way, I also now sell my series as a freelance editor, so if you like what I do and want me to edit a video for you and for a fair price, feel free to contact me by email. Without further ado, let's jump into the backstory of the Beast in Black. The city of Bravil, in the south of Cyrodiil, is known to be one of the worst cities of the capitals. It's a prime ground for thieves, dealers and all sorts of criminals. Among the various Kuma dealers that proliferate in the city was a talented Khajiit alchemist who, because of circumstance and the lack of honest work in the city that paid a nonsense living, resulted to craft Kuma and sell his concoction to the people of the lowest ranks of society's ladder. While he took no pleasure or pride in his dirty work, he was satisfied with his way of life for a time because it allowed him to put his skill to good use and provide decent life for his two children. His youngest child was a true daredevil. He was always excited, full of energy, and would often go on small expeditions in the surroundings of Bravil and bring back fishes and small animals he caught himself to help his father cook better meals. He spent most of his time running and climbing and often hurt himself in accidents, but his sister was always here to heal him with her restoration spells. He also had the habit to cry for the smallest injuries and was also very emotionally sensitive, both for his own feelings as well as others, and because of that, he was often teased by his father and his big sister to be a crybaby. He was very close to her, and she would often come with him in his expedition and they would go play with the local kids together. They never owned a house in the city, but it never mattered to them. Their life was peaceful and never boring. Even once young adult, the Khajiit boy and his sister stayed with their aging father to help him with his shady business, until the Imperial legions began to treat the dealers with extreme harshness, and many heads began to roll in the streets. The aging Khajiit was horrified at the ideas of one of his children suffering the same fate. He had enough of this life, where he never knew where his next meal was going to come from. He wanted to go to a place where he could live the rest of his days in peace, while also giving to his children a chance for a fresh start. After discussing with them, they decided to go north with the end goal of arriving to Skyrim, where a lot of alchemists have made a successful and honest career. So they packed up their stuff in a cart and began their journey. When they crossed the border and nearly arrived to the city of Markov, their caravans were attacked and they were ambushed by Forsworn, who attacked them from the hills. The father and his sister had no choice but to lay down their weapon. His son was able to climb the hill and escape and run as fast as he can to search for help, but he was unfortunately caught up by the Forsworn and knocked out. He woke up in a dark and putrid cave. There was a lot of several animals' heads put on spikes, bags of human organs were hanging from the ceilings, and strange marks were painted on the floor. He panicked. His sister and father took him in his arms, trying to comfort him. They was going to be sacrificed, but at least they were together to share their last moment. A figure gathered in the center of the room and summoned a project cage. It was an horrible creature, half bird, half raven, with a hooked nose and a dress made of flesh. A hag raven. She looked at the family with her glowing red eyes with an unblinking stare, and after a moment she took the boy away and dragged him to the center of the room. She then tied him up and forced him to drink a strange liquor. As the people in the room started to recite strange incantations, he almost vomited. This was the most disgusting thing he ever drank. And before he even had the time to do anything, they bring his father before him and killed him. He burst in tears and fell to the ground. He begged them to spare his sister and tried to cut his rope with his claw, but he couldn't do anything. His sister smiled at him for the last time and tears rolled on the cheek. She fell on the ground, lifeless. He snapped, entering into a human rage, and suddenly transformed into a werewolf. The first one tried to take him down, but they couldn't do anything or were massacred with no mercy. He grabbed the raven and brutally smashed her skull on the ground, leaving only a piles of blood and broken bones. He transformed back into a Khajiit, horrified and broken by what happened. He used any sanity he had left to bury his family, and then spent the next few months wandering to the wood of Skyrim. He eventually settled into an inhabited hut and tried to recover from the death of his family, living alone and eating the animals he killed in the wild. One day, he found himself in a skirmish between the Stormcloaks and the Imperials. The soldier mistook him for a skooma addict and decided to put him out of his misery by sending him to the chopping block. And this is where your story begins. the story of the Beast in Black. The roleplay began after being saved by a dragon at Elgin. Werewolf asks him to seek the help of the Jarl of Whiterun, and the tasks that are given to him make him break out of his usual hollow and sinister attitude. On his way through Whiterun, he encounters the companions and is approached by Haela. "We are brother and sister in honor. We show up to solve problems if the coin is good enough," she said. Helping the people of Skyrim sounds like a good cause to devote himself. He decides to join the companions before going to Bleakforest Barrow to help Faungar with his research. He first expects to be rejected for being a Khajiit, but at his surprise, they don't care about his race. The companions only care about the skills of a warrior, and even though he has no proper warrior skills, he still managed to win a fight against Vilkas thanks to his fist and gain the privilege to train with the companions. Soon after, he discovered that he is a dragonborn. He immediately goes to Hyforgan to learn what it means before returning to Jorvask after defeating a dragon with Delphine. He is scared by the power of Arduin and desires to use the skill to be strong enough to be able to face him and save the world. He quickly gained the respect of the companion and is invited to join the circle after he found out that they are actually werewolf. For the roleplay, I imagined that the Beast in Black was already a werewolf and that the blood of the companions allowed him to gain complete control of his transformations and become a stronger beast. Anyways, he's happy to find people like him and they help him gain understanding of his beast blood. Kodlak tells him the story of one of his predecessors, a good but naive man who was tricked by the Glamoury witches to pledge the companions to Irtin. This story makes him realize that nobody is safe from the influence of the Daedra and that the world must be protected from them and their worshippers. This will be his cause. Eventually, he becomes the arbiter of the companions, their spiritual guide, and decides to use the authority given by this role to inform his brother and the entirety of Skyrim about the danger of the Daedra. He joined the College of Winterhold to gain knowledge on the Daedra and the Forsworn, but also to gain a formal training in destruction and restoration, as well as the skill to enchant his gear. The college is never a priority for him, and he joined only for the resource and knowledge it contains. Protecting the world gives him a new purpose in life. He regains colors and slowly reopens his heart again to other people. He is a chaotic, good character who seeks to help people by any ways, no matter if his action has consequence or risk for him. For example, there are people in Skyrim who actively cause problems to others in the cities of Skyrim, such as Lemkil or Roekted, Safaru in Riften, or Degen and Mulush in Markarth. The citizens of Skyrim live better with these people in the ground, and the Beast in Black will not hesitate to use his werewolf form to kill them and protect his identity. This way, he can become the superhero of Skyrim, taking the mantle of the Beast of Hircin to avenge the innocent anonymously. Speaking of Markarth, the Sinna Mine plotline is an important part of his roleplay, because he has to team up with the man who killed his family and ruined his life. These quests make him realize that even them suffer from injustice and have a cause to defend. These quests will have important consequences for the rest of the playthrough. They will become a bit more tolerant to Daedra worshippers, but still aware of the scheme and willing to protect the people from their influence. Both Dragonborn and Dawnguard DLC will be fitting questline for him. The Piece of the Past and Azure style side quests are perfect for him because it allows him to show people the danger of the Daedra actually represent, that they shouldn't be underestimated. Besides this quest, I let you decide what is Khajiit do. Any quest that allow him to protect the people of Skyrim and help them with a problem is fitting for him. His gameplay is pretty simple and straightforward. He can charge head-on and deal with his enemies with his claw boosted by Shout, Enchantment and Elemental Destruction Cloak, attack them from a distance with his spell, or transform into a burning werewolf and wipe out everyone in his way. The Beast in Black uses a wide variety of destruction spells, both to enhance the damage he deals with his claw, as well as attacking his enemies at range. Depending on the foes he faces, he will use one of these destruction spells: Cloak, Flame Cloak, Frost Cloak and Lightning Cloak. He will also use Fireball, Ice Packs, Lightning Bolts for range attacks, and Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is important here because it's a core part or one of his special moves, but since we aren't taking the Master Destruction pair for this build, we are going to need the Secret of Arcana Blackbook perk to use it. From Restoration, he will use Close Wound to occasionally heal himself. And since he doesn't carry any weapon enchanted with Fiery Sword Trap, he'll use Sword Trap from the School of Conjurations. He'll use this spell on non-humanoid because he's not morally evil, and that's the reason why he won't be using Soul Tage neither, because that Shout is too evil and too sinister for him. Speaking of Shout, the Beast in Black will use a lot of them. Unrelenting Force, Whirlwind Sprint, Mark for Death, Disarm, Dismay, Ice Form, and Fire Breath. Ice Form is the great equivalent of Paralysis for this build, and Mark for Death is always great for unarmed characters because it allows them to scale up the damage of their fist. Dismay is also useful when you get overwhelmed. Whirlwind Sprint to quickly cover great distance, and it will also be used in the special move section of the video. Now let's discuss the gear of the Beast in Black. As an unarmed character, he doesn't carry a single weapon or staff and he doesn't really need to. He will wear a unique self-enchanted set of armor called Beast Armor, which is composed of the Helm of Ingol, a set of ancient Nord armor enchanted with 45 health and 45 destruction, a pair of Deadeye gauntlet enchanted with 45 unarmed and 45 magicka, and a pair of Deadeye boots enchanted with resist shock and resist fire. For auxiliary gear, he will wear an amulet enchanted with 45 destruction and resist magic, and a ring enchanted with 45 unarmed and 45 health. Along with this ring, you will also want to acquire the Ring of Hircine and the 4 Werewolf rings from the First Moon Crag in Solstheim, and use them all when needed. All of these enchantments are extremely useful to make the Beast in Black a lot more tankier and resistant to magic, while reducing the cost of his destruction spells and making his melee attack more deadly. The ancient Nord armor can be looted on Bashnag, an orc necromancer located in Southwest Sanctum, a cave at the southeast of Elgen. You can also craft it at the Skyforge if you have completed the companion quest line and unlock the Deadeye Phantom perk, a perk that will also allow you to craft from gauntlets and boots. The Helm of Ingol is a unique helmet found near Ingol's Barrow at the east of Winhelm, which has a 30% resist frost enchantment. To get it, you will need to buy the Coral Dragon Claw from Birna in Winterhold, or you will be stuck in the first room of the dungeon. Solve a few puzzles, defeat a few ghosts, and take a helmet from Ingol's remains in the last room of the dungeon. This set creates a really cool demon-like aesthetic that really fits the vibe I was thinking for him. So you should acquire every piece of this gear as soon as you can to complete the aesthetic, because playing as a cool-looking characters always make a playthrough much more enjoyable. Up next is the stat and perk spread of the Beast in Black. You will want to level him with a ratio of 2 in magicka, 3 in health and 1 in stamina. Most of the time, we will be at melee wage and we therefore need as much health as we can get to take the damage, both in human and werewolf form. Magicka is also important because we use a lot of spells which have a high cost, and since melee power attacks doesn't consume a lot of stamina, you don't need a high pool of stamina. But it's still important to perk for the carry weight and our werewolf form. The Beast in Black will be using the Lord Stone, granting him a 50% boost to armor and a 25% boost to magic resistance. This buff is already plenty powerful, and it's even better in the case of this build because it's stacked up with our enchantment and carry over into werewolf form. And we are playing as a Khajiit for the backstory, aesthetic and the racial ability clause which doubles melee damage. By the time you reach level 40, this is what your skill tree should look like. In Destruction, take the Novice to Expect perks, Dual Casting, Impact, both perks in each Augmented Element perks, and Disintegrate. In Restoration, take the Novice to Adept perks, Dual Casting, Regeneration, and Respite. In Enchanting, take All Valve Enchanter, Insightful Enchanter, Corpus Enchanter, and Exo Effect. In Smithing, take the Steel to Deadeye Smithing perks. Builds that use tool crafting skills are often a pain to level up, but Enchanting is much more important for the Beast in Black for reduced spell destruction cost and enhanced melee damage. This skill is mainly perked to help us get all the required piece of gear quickly, but they can all be obtained without missing. At later level, Smithing will be really useful for legendary tier improved armor. And finally, in heavy armor, take All 5 in Juggernaut, Fist of Steel, Cushion, and Conditioning. Fist of Steel is almost mandatory for unarmed builds to increase the damage of their unarmed strike, and since we are wearing exclusively heavy armor, we also benefit from the other perks like Juggernaut and Cushion. Conditioning will be extremely important here because it removes the weight of our armor and makes the Beast in Black much more agile. If you want to play past level 40, adding alteration would be a good option to get more defense, and you can also consider alchemy to increase the damage of your destruction spells. Some relevant power and passive effects for this build include Serious Repose, Ancient Knowledge, Seeker of Sorcery, and Secret of Arcana. Alright, we now have only the special move section of this build to cover. Special moves are a combination of spells, shout, and other power to create unique abilities unique to our characters. For the Beast in Black, we first have Wild Charge, which is a combination of Warrior Sprint and the Sunstone power Sunflare. Sprint at a blinding speed at a group of enemies and burn them to a crisp before they have any time to react. This is a great way to start a fight at these characters, both fitting and efficient, like a demonic appearance. This move was actually taken for the Burning Barbarian from Sky Prophecies, and because it's a fitting inclusion here, I allowed myself to borrow it for this guy. This is the funniest way to approach a horde of enemies as the Beast in Black. Up next, we have Devil Beam. His Devil Beam can destroy all mankind. His strength is on display, as seen in the opening of the 1972 Devilman anime. In this move, the Beast in Black concentrates his magicka to create a powerful beam of storm energy that wipe out and turn to ashes everything and everyone in its way that won't be stopped for 30 seconds. With the Disintegrate Destructions perk, everything killed with the beam will be turned to a pile of smoldering ashes, which is immensely satisfying. It's especially fun when used by surrounded by enemies or when a dragon is flying above you, ready to burn you to a crisp with his fire. And finally, we have Demon's Rage. In this move, the Beast in Black lets its hate explode and transform into a burning beast of darkness capable of wiping out an entire army. First, cast either Flame, Frost or Lightning Cloak, depending on the situation, then slip on the Ring of Bloodlust, a unique ring brought from the Frostmourne Crag in Source Time that makes you deal double damage, while in Werewolf form, but also take double damage. This is the pinnacle of the dark destructive power of the Beast in Black and his best move that will make for the greatest tale. And with that, we are going to wrap up the video for my very first Skyrim character build. A dear friend of mine introduced me to the Netflix anime Devilman Crybaby a few years ago, and it quickly became one of my favorite animes of all time. As a whole, Devilman is a fascinating manga, and I recommend you to give it a try if you didn't know it before. It was only natural to try to recreate him in Skyrim, and the result is a super fun and versatile character whom spell size seems to never get old. Anyways, thank you all for your time and attention. I hope you liked to watch the video as much as I like making it. I have more builds that will come very soon and I hope you are going to like them. See you next time on my channel.